Dariel was an ugly old man who had served for 32 years as the Demon King's Dark Army and an advisor to the 4 heavenly kings. But one day, Dariel was fired from his position, because once this guy's father retired, he decided to fire him despite doing his job well. Bashbarza and the other 4 generals agreed to fire him because he was a low-level demon and couldn't use magic. They ended up expelling him from the Demon King's army. Dariel had no choice but to accept reality because the only thing distinguishing demons from humans was whether or not they could use magic. Finally, he wandered aimlessly in a depressed and hungry state. When his body was tired and lying in a forest, suddenly a girl jumped at him, showing her underwear. The girl turns out to be being chased by an ape monster. Dariel tries to protect her, but because he is weak and hasn't eaten anything, he is no match for the monster. Finally, Dariel used the knife the girl had brought to kill the monster. When things calmed down, Dariel didn't want to get involved with the girl because it was dangerous for him, but the girl insisted on taking him to her village to eat as a thank you for saving her. His stomach screamed, so the girl finally dragged him to her house. When they arrived home, she introduced him to her parents, who were the head of the village there, and introduced herself as Malika. He only thought about the danger of being a demon in a human city. He said he wandered into the forest because his new employer kicked him out of his old job without mercy. Then Marika offered him to stay with them, and her parents agreed. After all, their village was short of workers. Although Dariel was unsure about staying with the enemy, he found 2 good reasons to stay there.
正体バレたら危ないし、さすがにわかりました。お世話になります。
The next day, Malika's father was also the guild leader and offered Dariel a job as an adventurer because he had a strong enough body. Dariel refused because he knew what would happen to the demons if they tried to infiltrate as adventurers. But they forced him to become an adventurer. At that moment, Dariel realized that he was human even though he had been raised by demons. Then Malika's father taught him everything about adventurers. Every human has an aura that can be used on weapons and armor. 4 types of aura are used to slash, sting, hit, and guard. Unexpectedly, Dariel mastered all of them, which frustrated Malika's father, and he wanted to test his strength using an iron hammer on a wooden shield. Malika's father was impressed that Dariel had all 4 types and offered to recommend him to the central guild. But Dariel decided to stay in the village because they helped him when he had nowhere to live. Finally, Dariel will live in the village, making Malika very happy. The villagers are also pleased when they meet him, except for a boy named Geshida, who does not accept him because he is jealous. He is the only adventurer in the village and is also considered to have a higher rank. When the master learned that Dariel defeated a dangerous monster, he finally promoted him to rank D the next day. Dariel went on a plant collection mission. Malika accompanied him and held his hand. Malika also teaches Dariel about plants. She has great experience and strength, but is afraid of fighting. Then Malika asked him to call her name, but when Dariel did, Malika almost broke his back. Fortunately, the deer appeared. The deer looked like a karate fighter against another monster, and seeing the opportunity, they hunted both of them. The residents were impressed with Dariel's prowess for being able to collect plants along with defeating monsters, while Geshida was upset because he had already taken his target twice. One day, a hazardous monster appeared near the city and was supposed to be cared for by other guild adventurers. However, the adventurers did not do their job correctly because the monster was approaching the village. At the same time Geshida was being chased by the giant monster, Dariel realized that the monster this time was on a different level from the monsters he had faced so far, so he had to risk his life in this fight. Dariel gave him a superficial wound that eventually destroyed his sword. When everything seemed lost, he used 2 skills at once. He threw the pieces of his sword and finally killed the monster. The snake managed to poison Geshida, so Dariel would cure him using the medicine given by Malika. Since that incident, Geshida began to respect him, but over time, it became annoying because Geshida always followed him everywhere. But some things are more troublesome than that. Every time Dariel returns home, Malika always welcomes him brutally, causing Dariel to almost die. But Dariel didn't mind because it was unintentional. Later, Dariel realized there were still many empty houses in the village. The chief told him this village was entirely of life when the mithril mine was still under human control. One day, mithril was the most valuable material for humans. There were several battles against demons to control the mine. In the end, the demons took control of it, causing the village to be destroyed. So this generation will be the last generation to live in the village. Dariel thought about the problem, and the next day, he infiltrated the mine without any problem. There was no surveillance, so it was easy for him to get to the mine, where he met the knockers, Dariel's friends. They realized that since Dariel left, the Demon King General had doubled the mithril quota they had to extract, and it was impossible to do so. They also missed Dariel because he was the only one who called their names, and when he was there, everything went well. Unlike now, they were having a terrible time. The new commander in charge of the place mistreated them, demanding that they double the mithril quota on orders from Bashbarza. Meanwhile, the knocker couldn't stand it, and he hit the guy, causing him to get angry. They were almost killed, but Dariel intervened in the battle. Dariel didn't want to hurt the knights. He used his sword with his scabbard, realizing that the knights couldn't use their spells, and attacked them before the spell was completed. Dariel finished off everyone. He fought his boss, but it turned out that he was just a weakling who was hired because he was favored by Bashbarza. Ultimately, he left him bald and sent him home, as did the soldiers. Because the knockers trusted Dariel, they decided to work for him, and Dariel would protect them. So Dariel told his father-in-law that he had recovered the mine and begged him to help protect the knockers. The village chief accepted and sent a message to the central guild that would help immediately. Since the mine was under human control, people started coming to the village, and Dariel's father-in-law was pleased with him. Malika also gives up on the fact that Daniel will be her husband. Meanwhile, in the Demon Kingdom, Bashbarza was preparing a powerful bomb based on mithril, so he tripled the quota. But Zebians came to tell him that humans were taking over the mines, and most importantly, the Demon Lord of Darkness had a complaint about him. When he met the Demon Lord, he scolded him because he had stockpiled mithril for his bombs. After all, he thought it was a stupid thing. So, the Demon Lord would punish him by asking him to apologize because the Dark Lord was apparently childish. Bashbarza eventually apologized but was angry when the Demon Lord kept mentioning Dariel to him because he recognized his abilities and even liked him. He mentions that his father was a great general, thanks to the fact that he met Dariel. Malika gives Dariel hints so they can have children and seduces Dariel into becoming her husband. Unfortunately, their conversation is cut short due to a fight. Dariel sees Gashida fighting with another adventurer, and they say they must have used dirty tricks to seize the mine. The bastard failed the mission earlier and let the giant snake almost reach his village. Gashida told him that Dariel had killed the monster. The adventurer was shocked, and the villagers celebrated his prowess by throwing him up while calling him an rank adventurer. Sometime later, Dariel met Bashbarza from the Central Guild. He wanted to negotiate with the knockers, but since they didn't trust him, he asked for Dariel's help to intercede. Dariel finally accepted, and he was able to negotiate with them. But not only the people from the guild were interested in negotiating, but also the demons. When Dariel sees where the message came from, he runs into an old friend named Rizet. They end up talking, and things seem chaotic in the Demon Kingdom since he left. He also tells him that Dariel, one of the 4 generals, is looking for him to return to the kingdom. He is doing a good job and gets along well with him, but Dariel refuses because he is human and wants to help the people willing to take him in while he is confused about being fired. Rizet thought of taking him by force, but Dariel refused and offered to do business with mithril. After a great talk, they went to Bashbarza to make a deal, but the troubled adventurer attacked Rizet because he was a demon. Since no one wanted to fight for mithril, they reached an agreement. Then Bashbarza asked Dariel to help open a workshop to handle the mithril, but he met a B-rank adventurer named Fitbitten, who was in charge of guarding the workshop. He was also arrogant and wanted to avoid getting advice from a person with a D rank. Dariel told his father-in-law that suddenly Malika came with him because an old grandfather had touched her breasts. Besides being a pervert, he was a great mithril forger. He also had orders from the guild center to work in the forge, but since another adventurer was handling it, the old man named Smith would use his perfect negotiation technique of begging him until he allowed him to work. Smith demonstrated his ability to handle mithril and crafted him a powerful weapon. Fitbitten already knew that Smith was a great forger, so he begged him to make him stay. But he didn't want to anymore, and the adventurer eventually became angry with Dariel and challenged him to a duel where he could even kill him without it being considered a crime. Everyone was worried, but the old man made him a special weapon. The next day, the duel began. Fitbitten took out his weapon based on mithril, and Dariel took out a knife that had been specially made by Smith. But the knife is not just any knife because it is challenging and can be stretched and deformed. The knife can become any weapon according to the user's wishes. In the end, Dariel wins the duel. After that, Bashbarza apologized for what the adventurer did, and they would punish him accordingly. But Dariel only proposed that he help with the damage they caused. Bashbarza knew Dariel was very skilled and offered him a job at the guild center. Knowing that Marika was worried then, Marika tried to take a bold step by meeting Dariel. Then, in the sauna, Dariel considered the offer and was lost in thought. Suddenly, Malika appeared and sat next to him. Dariel thought she was Geshida, so he accidentally groped Malika's big machi and wondered why he felt such a big and soft machi in his hand. When Dariel realized it was Malika's breast, he didn't know what to say. At that moment, he thought he was going to die. Malika didn't mind because she loved Dariel and thanked him for doing so much for Lux Village. Malika also wished him success in his new path and said everyone would always support him. Dariel immediately replied that he refused the offer. He said that Malika and the villagers gave him so much when he had nothing, and with their help, he was pleased. Then Dariel confessed his feelings for Malika, and he kissed Malika. Dariel is fighting to spend the night with Malika, and his mother tries to wake Malika so that she knows that they are having fun together at night. In the morning, Dariel falls down the stairs because he has no more energy after spending the night with Malika. Dariel was nervous all day, and he realized that Malika's mother already knew about his relationship with Malika. As a result, Dariel decided to ask Malika's father for permission to marry Malika.
マリーカさんと結婚させてください。全力で幸せにします。
Malika's father is surprised and immediately gives them permission, so Dariel asks if he wants to marry her.
結婚してくれる?
Dariel used his aura to carry her so that Malika and Dariel could officially get married. After a year, Lux Village also developed significantly because the mithril processing was a great success. He then thanked Smith at his grave for giving him advice and his help for Dariel and Lux Village. When Dariel returned home, Malika was waiting with her son, Gran. He was named after the person who raised Dariel and cared for him in his past. Then Geshida told him that the hero would soon come to the village. Dariel faced heroes when he was part of the demon army, so Dariel covered his face and was ready to fight him if they wanted to attack him. When a group of heroes appeared, Dariel was confused because the current hero was a young girl. She was a new heroine named Lady, accompanied by 2 people. Lady told Dariel that the old hero was retired and she was his successor. The group of heroes wanted to have the mithril weapon made in Lux's village. They arrived at the guild house. Malika greeted Lady and learned that Lady liked children. She wanted to hold Gran, and Gran also liked her. Dariel was not surprised that Gran had the same preference for soft machi and was definitely his son. The next morning, she wanted Dariel to show her the blacksmith's place in Lux Village. Dariel explained to them the function of the mithril weapons made in the forge, and Dariel asked the blacksmith Sakai to make a special weapon for Lady. Sakai touched Lady's hand to determine her aura type so he could make the best weapon for her. Then Lady says they are looking for another member for the hero party. Geshida seemed to want to take care of their problems, so he organized a competition, and everyone was allowed to participate. The contestants had to fight against the hero party, but Lady and her friends did not use weapons to keep it fair. Unfortunately, they were all defeated immediately, and Lady was disappointed. Geshida suddenly fought Lady with arrows, and he hid in a tree. Geshida urged Lady to be serious. When Lady started using her full power, Dariel stopped her attack with an apple. After Lady challenged Dariel to a fight because she felt Dariel's strong aura. Lady attacked him with her sword, so Dariel had no choice but to fight against Lady. He parried all Lady's attacks, and as a result, the mountain was split. Lady was impressed by Dariel and wanted to unleash her full power. Dariel recognized the attack and countered with the same attack as the previous hero. After the fight, Lady asks Dariel to join her group, but Dariel politely refuses and tells her he cannot leave his family. As the head of the village, he has to help many people. At night, Lady asked Dariel how he could use the same technique, which was even stronger than her own. The question was because the previous hero, Alancel, was the only one who mastered this technique perfectly. Lady wanted to make him realize that Dariel had powers that should be used against evil demons. Dariel tries to change her mind by telling her that demons have no evil intentions and only defend themselves against humans to protect their families. Unable to force Dariel to join her group, Lady decides she wants to become Dariel's student to gain so much power like him. The next day, Rizet visits Dariel, and he is accidentally seen by the demon general Zebians. Rizet brought a gift for Dariel and played with his son. Rizet also talked about his promotion to the demon army, but suddenly Zebians appeared. Zebians used Rizet as her chair because he didn't tell her about Dariel's existence or the mithril mine. Then Malika brought drinks for the guests, and at the same time, Zebians denigrated her husband, making Malika very angry. As a result, Malika showed her bloodlust, and Zebians was intimidated by Malika. Once outside, Zebians attacks Dariel. She is angry at him because his wife threatened her. Zebians underestimated Dariel's abilities, but she was immediately overwhelmed by his immense strength. Zebians would not accept her defeat, so Dariel had to fight her several times, and he always won. Then Dariel rescued Zebians, who fell. But Dariel realized that he had accidentally taken off her underwear. The demon general started crying and said she would complain about the underwear accident to his wife. Dariel apologized, and in return, he offered to sell his mithril at a low price. After that, Zebians was introduced to the blacksmith Sakai to complete her order. Soon, the heroes' party showed up. Dariel tried to distract them because he didn't want them to meet Zebians. Despite Dariel's best efforts to protect her, the two met while visiting the sauna. Realizing that the two of them met in the sauna, Dariel stormed into the sauna and grabbed their soft mochi by accident. Eventually, Dariel got a slap on the face. Lady wanted to know why there was a demon general in Lux village. Dariel then told her his secret, that he grew up as a human among the demons. Everyone was surprised except Malika because Dariel told her his secret before marriage. Zebians did not mind that Dariel was human, but the problem with Lady and Zebians was unresolved. The next day, they each had a powerful mithril weapon, and the two fought each other, parried Zebians' attack, and she kicked her opponent to the ground. Then Zebians cast a powerful wind spell, and Lady prepared a counterattack against her. The two attacks collided, and the sleeping Gran woke up immediately. Gran saw their big breasts, and he wanted to go to them. Jumping from her arms, suddenly the mountain collapsed, but Lady and Zebians protected Gran. Both of them were happy that nothing happened to Gran's baby, and as a result, both of them stopped their fight. Suddenly, they became friends, and they started to be able to laugh with each other. The next day, the former hero Alancel appeared, and Daniel immediately recognized the dangerous man. At the same time, Zebians appeared, which made Daniel panic and asked her to be careful because Alancel was a killing machine. Even so, he has a good side towards humans. All the children love the former hero, and the other villagers love him. After that, Alancel thanked Dariel for taking good care of Lady and said he had taught her many new fighting moves. Knowing Dariel was stronger than Lady, Alancel challenged him by releasing a dangerous aura. The aura was so terrifying that Dariel was scared and suggested having lunch first because they couldn't fight hungry. Dariel and the others had lunch, and he was happy with Malika's lunch, while Zebians accidentally used magic, sensing that Alancel instantly changed and he wanted to kill Zebians. Dariel protects her with his weapon, ready to fight against the former hero. Dariel managed to deflect all of Alancel's attacks during their fight. He could feel Dariel's great strength, so he decided to get serious. Dariel lost the fight as the former hero was much stronger. Alancel asked why Dariel protects demons, and he replied that he doesn't want humans or demons to get hurt. He told him his secret. Meanwhile, Bashbarza is seen asking the demon lord to fire his son from the demon lord's general. The reason is that his son only causes problems for the demon army, and he does not carry out his duties as a demon general. The demon lord also said he knew where Dariel was and revealed Dariel's whereabouts. Meanwhile, Alancel also knew Dariel's past, that he was raised by the demon lord's general Grandbarza. When Dariel revealed his age, Alancel realized that Dariel was his biological son. The reason was that 33 years ago, his wife was killed by demons, and his son had disappeared without a trace. Suddenly, he felt a strong aura, and he unleashed an attack on him, but Grandbarza cast a spell to defend himself. Grandbarza appeared, and the two enemies met each other again. Then, they immediately wanted to fight each other. Dariel tried to stop them and asked Alancel's permission to solve the problem. Grandbarza already knew about Dariel's biological father. He realized this when Dariel was 5 years old and could not use magic. After this incident, he began investigating and apologized for not telling the truth because he loved Dariel like a boy. He also told him that Dariel was his pride and treasure. Those words made Alancel very angry. The reason was that he couldn't see his son grow up, and he was also frustrated that the demon stole Dariel. Grandbarza understood his hatred and decided Alancel should take his anger out on him. The two want to fight each other, but Dariel doesn't know how to stop them. Suddenly, Malika appears. She stops them by introducing them to baby Gran and saying they are both grandfathers. Then Dariel encourages Alancel that he cannot experience Dariel's childhood but can see his grandson grow up. When Alancel takes Gran into his arms, he can overcome the grudge against the demon. On the other hand, Bashbarza is furious to learn that he was fired, and he loses his mind that he wants to pursue Dariel to kill him. The next day, the grandfathers are playing with Gran, and suddenly Gashida appears with Fitbitum. They report that trouble has arisen at the Mithril mine. Dariel set off with Zebians, using her magic to get them there as soon as possible. Arriving at the Mithril mine, they found a monster that was out of control, and he was causing damage everywhere. Dariel decides to save the knockers, and Alancel accompanies him to the Mithril mine. Meanwhile, Grandbarza fights with the others against the magical flame beast Salamandra. Lady attacks with her group, assisted by Zebians, so they can launch attacks easily. Unfortunately, their attacks do not work, and Salamandra attacks with fire breath. When it becomes dangerous, Lady and her group are assisted by Grandbarza, who absorbs the fire magic. When Dariel reached the knocker, the Salamandra flew towards them, so Dariel and Alancel combined their attacks, and they were able to repel the Salamandra. When the Salamandra flew away, Dariel felt a familiar feeling from the Salamandra. After that, Grandbarza wanted to return to the Demon Palace and say goodbye to Dariel. Once at the palace, Grandbarza met his son and asked if he entered the secret room in the Demon Palace. Bashbarza admitted that he learned the forbidden spell stored there long ago. Bashbarza was angry at his father because he was actually jealous of Dariel. Then Grandbarza attacked his son to teach him a lesson, but Bashbarza called Salamandra, and he was on his way to kill Dariel. Dariel and Knocker are searching for missing people in the Mithril mine, and suddenly, the earth giant Gigantomatia appears. He explained that his friend Salamandra was being controlled by someone, so he gave some of his power to Dariel's mithril sword. He was told that soon Lux village would turn into a battlefield. After the earth giant disappeared, suddenly Grandbarza called him, and he told him about Bashbarza, who was on his way with the Salamandra. Knowing that, Dariel immediately evacuated the villagers so that Malika and his son Gran could be safe. When Bashbarza appears, he uses a powerful spell to create a huge fireball. Bashbarza threatens that he will lead him into despair. He will first kill Malika and then burn down his beloved village to take revenge on him. Dariel attacked the Salamandra with his mithril weapon, and Zebians supported him and knocked the Salamandra to the ground. Dariel manages to separate them, so he confronts him with a one-on-one fight. The two then begin to fight each other, Bashbarza using his newfound strength to push Dariel away. He used powerful attacks to defeat Dariel when he had the chance, so he was overwhelmed. But Dariel countered his attack by using his Sky Emperor. As a result, Dariel was able to corner Bashbarza. Bashbarza was forced to cast a forbidden spell on his body, intending to destroy Dariel with his new powers. Meanwhile, the heroes group strengthened their defenses, and Gashida attacked the Salamandra with all his strength. At the same time, Alancel was immediately attacked and supported by Grandbarza with a powerful fire attack. We see Bashbarza in his new form as she activates a forbidden spell and attacks Dariel. Dariel knows the danger of his attack and unleashes all his power to create a powerful attack with his mithril weapon. However, although Bashbarza could withstand his attack, Dariel couldn't believe it because Bashbarza's forbidden spell had evolved into a magical beast that immediately attacked Dariel with all its power. When Dariel was cornered, he tried to talk to Bashbarza, and then Dariel saw memories of Bashbarza, who was very happy with his family. He saw how Bashbarza met Dariel for the first time, but his father only paid attention to Dariel. Bashbarza was always lonely, and no one supported him. Dariel apologized to Bashbarza for never realizing his loneliness. Then Dariel managed to show him his feelings. Bashbarza learned that Dariel was just smiling because he was trying not to burden their family. He also learned that Dariel became happy when he met him because, on that day, he had a new family. Bashbarza couldn't believe that Dariel always treated him like a brother, and he rejected his kindness. Finally, Bashbarza released the spell and wanted to forgive Dariel. Suddenly, he lost control of the Salamandra, and Grandbarza noticed his son breaking the forbidden spell. Salamandra was out of control, and he wanted to kill everyone. Bashbarza merged with Salamandra because he wanted to sacrifice his life and save them all. Fortunately, Grandbarza stopped the Salamandra. At the same time, Dariel attacked and defeated the magical fire beast. At this moment, Bashbarza could feel his father's affection for him, and he apologized. So the fight ended, and Malika prepared the feast for Dariel's return. Malika heard Dariel's voice outside, and she immediately rushed to him. Malika hugged him, but his back was broken again. A few days later, Bashbarza apologized for his actions. He would atone for his crime as he did not want to disappoint his brother Dariel. After that, Gashida painted a picture of Dariel with Bashbarza, and they became one big family. They celebrated that day. And the next morning, Bashbarza decided to restore those who were injured. And after that, he wanted to travel around the world. And that is the end of the video. Remember to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.